Imagine facing an enemy that hides beneath the ground, launching attacks from invisible strongholds. That's the challenge the US could face if war with Iran ever broke out. Iran's military has turned its landscape into a maze of underground bunkers, sheltering missiles and aircraft in a network that seems impenetrable. But here's the twist. The US is ready. With state-of-the-art bunker-busting bombs, America's military can turn Iran's hidden defenses into targets. And with its dominance in cyber warfare and air power, the US can strike Iran's underground bases before they even know what's coming. But before we dive into US strategy, we need to answer a crucial question. Just what are Iran's underground military bases like? It's a tough question to answer because Iran is typically secretive about the military measures it puts in place. Still, it doesn't hide everything that it does. In February 2023, it was quick to show off a brand new underground air base it designed to launch surprise maritime missions into the Persian Gulf region. The Washington Institute reported on this new base, noting that Iran built it as a potential counter to the United States Navy's Fifth Fleet, which is active in the Persian Gulf. Named Agab-44 Hybrid Tactical Air Base, it's located around 75 miles northwest of Bandar Abbas in Iran's Hormozgan province. This base is a concrete monstrosity, built surprisingly inland given its naval purpose, but with the ability to overlook key shipping routes that track through the Strait of Hormuz and the Persian Gulf. Iran calls this a hybrid base. Its reasoning, according to the Washington Institute, is that the base will house both manned and unmanned aerial assets. In other words, Iran has created an underground military base it can use to launch its ever-growing drone army. Iran has invested heavily in drone production. The Iran Primer says it has a roster of over 20 types of drones, each with their own purposes. Those include kamikaze drones, such as the Shahed 136, which is capable of carrying a 100-pound explosive and has become a favorite of Russia when it carries out aerial strikes against Ukraine. Iran also has a large roster of combat and surveillance drones capable of traveling much further than its kamikaze drones. The Shahed 149, for example, can travel up to 1,240 miles, while carrying up to 1,100 pounds of ammunition or electronic equipment Iran can use for cyber warfare. Coming back to the Agab-44 Hybrid Tactical Airbase, it has a pair of covered taxiways for landing aircraft and is located near mountain ridges to the north and south. That location is a tactical choice. It believes the mountains offer further protection against bomb and missile strikes. The US will prove it wrong. The Agab-44 Hybrid Tactical Airbase is far from the only underground base Iran has available. The global security organization NTI reports on several more, including the Bakhtaran and Imam Ali missile bases. The former is an underground base in Kermanshah that NTI says is likely capable of launching ballistic missiles. Beyond its main underground facility, Bakhtaran has missile launch pads and a pair of storage areas for weapons and ammunition. It's been around since at least 1985, which is when Syria helped Iran launch Shahab-1 missiles at Iraq using the base. It's also where Iran conducted the first launch of its Zulfiqar ballistic missile system back in 2017. The Imam Ali base is no less impressive. It's in Khorramabad and is essentially an underground network of bunkers that are home to at least 15 of Iran's Shahab-3 missiles. Like Bakhtaran, Imam Ali has a storage facility and a missile launch facility into which NTI says Iran occasionally deploys mobile erector launchers. Iran's underground network, which it calls missile cities, includes bunkers spread across provinces and cities, reaching depths of up to 1,640 feet. If Iran's claims are accurate, this could mean hundreds of fortified sites designed to protect its missiles and aircraft. But it's not just about conventional warfare. Iran has been constructing a facility within the Zagros Mountains to shield its nuclear operations from US surveillance and sabotage. Recent satellite images show tunnel systems leading into the mountains and near the Natanz nuclear site, a previous target of US cyber sabotage. This base, possibly over 300 feet underground, is strategically positioned to make uranium enrichment difficult to detect and disrupt. Such concealment makes Iran's intentions clear. It aims to operate out of reach of American forces, but the US has a response plan. Equipped with powerful bunker busters and a cutting-edge arsenal, America is ready to neutralize even the deepest bunkers if conflict ever arises. So the question remains, how exactly would the US counter Iran's underground threat? The answer will terrify Iran. The US can use massive bunker-busting bombs that penetrate deep into the Earth's surface before unleashing explosive fury on Iran's military bases. But these bombs alone aren't enough to do the job. Iran has invested countless millions of dollars into shoring up its base defenses. The country has at least 1,700 anti-aircraft guns. It also has hundreds of S-300 missile defense systems, purchased in an $800 million deal with Russia made in 2007. and the ability to build its own S-300 equivalents. Granted, there's a quantity versus quality issue here. Iran focuses on getting as many anti-air defense units on the ground as it can, even if those units are outdated, to blanket the skies if an aerial threat looms. Still, this investment means the US can't simply fly over Iran whenever it feels like dropping its bunker-busting bombs. It has to be smarter than that. The use of bunker busters would start with intelligence gathering. That's according to the Spotlight YouTube channel, which points out that any bunker-busting bombs would need to be launched with pinpoint accuracy to stand any chance of destroying an underground Iranian base. So the US would have to take its time identifying its targets. Satellite imagery would help. We've already seen how images taken from space show what's going on near the Natanz nuclear site, but those images can only show potential entrances and the activities of workers moving in and out of Iran's bases. Iran's clever use of decoys is also a problem. It often ships mobile missile launch platforms to areas that have no underground bases, just to trick observers into thinking that a base is present. The idea is to force constant questioning over its intentions. Is there really a base in that location, or is Iran trying to prompt the US into wasting a bunker buster on an unused patch of land? The US has equipment to help with this surveillance. Chief among this equipment, beyond its satellites, is the RQ-4 Global Hawk remotely piloted aircraft. Decked out with a sensor suite that allows it to gather info on moving targets, imagery, and signals intelligence, this impressive drone can travel up to 356.5 miles per hour. It has a range of 12,300 nautical miles and can climb to a maximum ceiling of 60,000 feet. None of that makes it impossible for Iran to spot it in flight, but climbing so high means the RQ-4 can easily avoid most anti-air defense systems and can even fly higher than many fighter jets. America could combine the intelligence collected by this unmanned aerial vehicle with imagery pulled from its satellites to hone in on the location of an underground bunker. That powerful combination of information would, at the very least, allow the US to locate the above-ground bunker entrances Iran needs to access its military bases. From there, geographic imaging systems could help the US pinpoint the precise location of a bunker it can target with one of its powerful bombs. America would be ready to bomb, right? Not quite. Spotlight says that once it's located a bunker, America would first need to engage in a combination of cyber attacks and aerial superiority displays to clear a path to that bunker. On the cyber front, America has already shown it's capable of disrupting Iran's computerized systems. In 2010, the United States was the key player, along with Israel, in the distribution of the Stuxnet virus into Iran's military computer systems. The virus impacted the previously mentioned Natanz nuclear site, sending centrifuges designed to enrich uranium out of control. It's possible the US may have also been involved in using the Flamer virus to similarly cripple Iran's military computer systems. That sort of cyber warfare would prove essential in taking out an underground Iranian base using a bunker-busting bomb. A similar attack to Stuxnet, targeted at the Iranian command's communication and control systems, could disrupt the country's anti-air defenses and make it difficult to send messages to an underground base. That disruption, even if it only lasted for a few minutes, would be the window of opportunity the US needs to unleash a bunker buster. But it would need more. Aerial superiority is also essential to the bunker-busting bomb plan. With the ability to put Iranian military control in the dark about what's happening with its bases asserted, the US would need to establish a pocket of air superiority over the intended target. Why? Well, we mentioned earlier that Iran has massive volumes of anti-air defense systems. Even with cyber attacks affecting the country's digital systems, there's no guarantee that the likes of its S-300 surface-to-air missile launchers won't be able to fire at a bomber aircraft. Those defenses need to be suppressed. The same goes for the missiles and drones Iran produces in extremely high quantities. If its underground bases come under attack, you can guarantee that Iran would launch targeted strikes with its heady combination of weaponry. It's already showcased its capabilities with multiple strikes on Israel since Hamas's October 2023 terrorist attack. Its October 2024 strike on Israel alone used over 180 missiles and a huge number of drones, all weapons Iran could turn against an aircraft carrying a bunker-buster bomb. What's America's solution to this problem? Spotlight suggests a combination of the F-22 Raptor and the F-35 Lightning. Both are stealthy multi-role fighter jets capable of flying over Iranian airspace without being detected by radars. The US could use these jets to carry out targeted strikes on Iranian anti-air defenses surrounding an underground bunker, while its cyber attacks prevent proper communication. Even the US Navy could get involved, claims Spotlight. Tomahawk missiles launched from American ships in the Persian Gulf could also target Iranian air defense systems, drastically reducing Iran's ability to target an incoming bomber. The idea would be to fill the skies with missiles to distract anti-air systems away from the real target, while using those very missiles to destroy Iranian defenses near a bunker. Add drones into the mix, the US is as capable of producing kamikaze drones as Iran, and you get a blanket approach to establishing air superiority that would clear the way for a bombing run. Does that sound unrealistic? If it does, then just know that the US is already preparing by sending F-22 Raptors into the Middle East. That's according to no less than the US Central Command, which posted on X in August 2024 to herald the arrival of F-22s near Iran as part of what it calls America's force posture changes in the region. It specifically mentioned Iran and its proxies, indicating that the F-22s are arriving to mitigate the possibility of regional escalation. Is that the real reason? Or has the US sent F-22s into the Middle East because it knows it'll need them if it ever decided to unleash its terrifying bunker-buster bombs? About a dozen of these F-22s arrived in the Middle East from America's Alaskan Elmendorf-Richardson Joint Base, making a more than 5,600 nautical mile trek that included stops in the UK and various locations in the Mediterranean. The US also used tanker aircraft, which are special aerial refueling planes, to keep its F-22s topped up during their voyage. The point of all this is simple. The US has a combined cyber and aerial superiority plan that will allow it to unleash its bunker-busting bombs. It's also not afraid to let Iran know that it's prepared to unleash that plan at any time. But now it's time to get to the main event, the bombs themselves. With aerial superiority established and cyber attacks wreaking havoc on Iranian communications, the US would have its pick of two extremely powerful bombs that can easily destroy an underground military base. The first of these is the GBU-57 Massive Ordnance Penetrator, or MOP. Designed specifically to destroy weapons of mass destruction hidden in what the US Air Force calls well-protected facilities, the GBU-57 is a bomb with massive penetrative power. The Conversation even points out that the US specifically developed the bomb during a time of heightened tension with Iran in 2013. Back then, the bomb was supposed to be able to destroy the nuclear facility at Fordow that, like so many other Iranian military facilities, is nestled deep underground. The MOP weighs a staggering 15 tons, with the casing accounting for around half of that weight. Each bomb has an explosive charge weighing at least 5,300 pounds. It's a 20-foot-long bomb that can penetrate up to 200 feet of reinforced concrete thanks to the heavy casing. That's enough to plow through the concrete protection installed in most of Iran's underground bunkers. It's a versatile bomb too. The US can drop it from its old B-52 strategic bombers. However, it much prefers to use the B-2 long-range stealth bomber, which has a range of 6,000 nautical miles and a ceiling of 50,000 feet. That ceiling is important. It makes the B-2 nearly invulnerable to the older anti-air systems Iran has in place, allowing it to fly high and drop its bombs while out of range of the Iranian missiles and gunfire. The B-2 is also large enough to carry two GBU-57 MOPs, so they carry double the bunker-busting power. The GBU-57 is also smart. Iran's response to penetrative bombs is to use layered concrete when building its underground bunkers. In other words, the thick layers of concrete it uses have voids of empty space built between them. The goal is to trick any incoming bomb, such as the MOP, into thinking it's successfully reached its target, causing it to explode early and leave the bulk of the base undamaged. That won't work on the GBU-57. The Conversation says the massive bomb has undergone fusing developments that allow it to decipher between a void and an actual target. Where Iran thinks these gaps in its concrete will protect its bases, the GBU-57 will just keep plowing on through. Global Security adds to this, stating that the bomb operates with a delayed fuse to get around the void issue. It'll dig as deep as it needs to go, ensuring maximum destruction is wrought on the underground command facilities and missile bunkers that dot the Iranian landscape. The GBU-57 is a massive and powerfully penetrative bomb, and it's not the only bunker buster the US has at its disposal. Enter the GBU-72. Developed around 6 years after the GBU-57, the GBU-72 is a smaller bomb weighing 5,000 pounds. That still makes it a devastating weapon, just one that has less explosive power than its much larger cousin. The bomb is an upgrade over the old GBU-28, which the US used for similar bunker-busting purposes during Operation Desert Storm and its later invasion of Iraq. According to the US Air Force, the GBU-72 was developed using modeling and simulation techniques designed to increase its lethality compared to the older variant. That advanced modeling led to a bomb that uses a modified version of the GBU-31B's tail kit, meaning the GBU-72 has a GPS-assisted inertial navigation system that guides it toward its target. Add to that a pair of long fins, one attached to each side of the bomb near its bottom, and you get a weapon that can glide to its target after being dropped from a height of at least 35,000 feet. Again, that ceiling is important for ensuring the bombers dropping this powerful weapon stay out of range of Iran's anti-air defenses. The only thing we don't know is how deep the GBU-72 can penetrate, but the US Air Force offers some hints. GBU-72 Program Manager James Cullerton says that lethality is expected to be substantially higher compared to similar legacy weapons like the GBU-28 when talking about the GBU-72's power. The GBU-28 could penetrate up to 150 feet underground. It stands to reason that the GBU-72's enhanced lethality should allow it to push 200 feet or more toward a target before it detonates. But what if these powerful penetrating bombs aren't enough to take out an underground base? That's a possibility. Remember that the estimates for the underground portion of the Natanz nuclear site place it between 260 and 328 feet under the Earth's surface. Neither of these bunker busters can drill down quite that far. They'll still be able to destroy access tunnels and cut off the base from the outside, but the base itself would be intact, albeit far less usable. Well, the US could always go nuclear. The B-61-12 bomb is America's last resort if its more conventional bunker busters can't get the job done, according to Spotlight. Production on this 12-foot and 825-pound nuclear weapon began in 1968, though the most recent version was developed in 2020. The US has also undertaken a refitting program that will update the older versions of the bomb at the cost of $7.6 billion. What makes the B-61-12 so dangerous? It's a nuclear gravity bomb, launchable from the air, using either a guided drop mode or ballistic gravity to arrive at its target. Those guided capabilities come from the addition of 4 flexible fins, allowing the bomb to glide. Its tail section has also been tweaked to improve accuracy so that it can land within a target range of 98.4 feet. Located in the bomb's midsection is the nuclear warhead. The US has options here. The warhead can vary between 4 options: 0.3, 1.5, 10, and 50 kilotons, depending on the size of the target and the amount of damage America wants to cause. There's just one problem. The B-61-12 isn't a penetrative weapon on the scale needed to breach an Iranian bunker. The Federation of American Scientists, or FAS, says that the bomb can penetrate underground, but its range isn't high enough to reach a bunker. In fact, it's likely that the B-61-12 can only penetrate up to 10 feet underground, though that may have increased since the 2016 publication of the FAS report. Still, 10 feet is better than nothing, and the US could combine its conventional bunker busters with the B-61-12 to devastate an Iranian target. Imagine a GBU-57 penetrating deep and blowing a massive hole in the earth, into which the US then drops a B-61-12, and you get the idea. Using the B-61-12 will be a controversial last resort for the US, but it's an option that it has tucked away in its arsenal. Regardless, it's clear that America has a plan for Iran's underground bunkers. A combination of cyber warfare to cripple communication systems and the establishment of air superiority over targets to confuse and destroy anti-air systems would just be the start. Once the path is clear, the bunker busters would drop and Iran's underground bases would crumble into rubble. Iran is terrified of America's bunker busters. But what do you think about these bombs and the likely strategy the US would follow when using them? Would the bunker busters be enough to devastate Iran's war machine if it ever went to war with the US? Share your thoughts in the comments, and thank you for watching the video. Now go and check out how the US would obliterate Iran in war, hour by hour, or click this other video instead.